And from
Hello,
Egypt.
everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Interactive STEM Education. We're going to be integrating PhET simulations in BookWidgets. My name's Kate Baker. I'm your host for today. I am the head of community engagement here at BookWidgets, and I'm also a longtime veteran educator. And joining me from PhET is Linda. So, Linda, you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. My name is Linda Stegeman. I oversee partnerships here at PhET. I was a chemistry and physics teacher for 10 years, and I've been at PhET for about a year and a half now.
Awesome. So we got lots to share with you today. So if you're new and you're wondering, well, what is BookWidgets? BookWidgets is a content creation and student learning evaluation platform. We help you create interactive lessons for your students so that you can support their learning process from beginning to end. And we do that with a few different things. We have our widget and question templates. So we provide teachers with 40 different activity templates, what we call widgets. And within some of our widgets, we have 37 different question types, 30 of which are auto scored so that you can build a variety of professional and interactive lessons for your students. But then we also have learning management system integration so that you can use that trusted learning environment. And with that LMS integration, you can monitor student progress live so that you can immediately act and provide feedback and help your students. And then the reporting dashboard gives us plenty of insightful learning statistics so that you can spend less time on grading and more time on personalized feedback. And that, Linda, what is PhET?
I'll kick that part off. If there's anybody here who hasn't seen PhET before, you're in for a treat. PhET is a nonprofit organization. We're located at the University of Colorado Boulder in the physics department, and we make math and science simulations. And these simulations are made for all learners. They are not age restricted. They are not made for only a specific standard. They are made for science. They are made for math. So they're used globally by about 250 million users every year. And we are now up to 121 simulations. And if you got the newsletter today, you found out that even our newest sim, number pairs, just got a whole new screen added to it. If you take into account all the screens across PhET, which are those individual pages of a simulation, there's actually over 300 simulations inside of PhET. So
Ooh,
we're
that's
super
pretty
excited to
awesome.
be added to the book widget space so that you guys can make some awesome activities with FetSims and all of their fun widgets. So
Yes,
you're in for a treat today.
don't be fooled by the name BookWidgets and think that it's only ELA because every content and grade can use BookWidgets. So on the agenda for today, we got quite a few different examples to show you of some already built activities. We have questions paired with simulations. We'll also show you how to get started, a nice step-by-step demonstration of how you can add those PhET simulations and BookWidgets, and then just a nice tour of all of the different topics and some tips of what you'll see in PhET. So, taking a look at the examples in BookWidgets, this is all about making the abstract concepts into something that's a tangible lesson for your students. So you can use them for a variety of purposes, and we're going to take a look at these examples by subject. So, and think about these from a goal perspective. So when we think about the goals and examples of PhET simulation integration, we're looking at, how can we deepen conceptual understanding, stimulate inquiry-based learning, promote an active learning attitude, and develop those scientific thinking skills. So as I show these examples, Linda, I would love for you to give us a little bit of insight into like what's happening in this, or even if you want to guide me with like how to
Absolutely.
interact with the simulation.
I will be your resident science teacher for today.
Thank you so much. So, when we're taking a look at deepening conceptual understanding, we have this one.
This is a fun one. So this is projectile motion. This would be great in a physics class. I know. Fun fact, you can actually tell the name of the sim from the bottom of the sim screen where you see projectile motion. That is in fact the name of the sim. So this would be great for a physics class. This is, if I believe, this is actually a little bit after you've introduced projectile motion to your class. This could be a lab alternative. So maybe you don't actually want to launch a whole bunch of cannons across the football field because it does in fact make your football coach a little angry. Congratulations, you have a digital alternative. Oh, and fun fact, the statue that's there, that is the statue of David. Statue of David did get a lovely pair of shorts added. Otherwise, he might not have been school appropriate.
Whoa, this is fun. So you see on the one side, we have the simulation, and then on the other side, we have some questions and instructions for students. So we can have, fill in the blank where they're typing in, their answers here. We also have a chart for them to fill in, drop down type of question. So again, being able to do a digital lab, have some auto scoring here is pretty powerful. And if you find that your students are like, well, I need more room to look at the simulation, you can always drag the simulation, this kind of center bar over to be able to do that. Um, so that's a fun one. And we got
And I
more.
and from a science teacher perspective, what I love about this is the exact same activity that I probably do inside my classroom. The difference is that this one's auto graded. This is the same worksheet that I think any physics teacher would do.
Yeah.
This is just auto graded in one spot. That's it. That's it. That's the big difference, but it's such a powerful difference.
And you'll see in all of the examples up in the top corner here, we have make a copy in my account. So if there's any example that you're like, oh, I want to use this, yes, go for it. Totally take it, make a copy in your account. You can customize it, change the questions, adapt them, whatever you may need. All right, let's take a look at another one for stimulating inquiry-based learning. So this one, Linda, what do we got?
So this is density, and this is going to be an assessment example. So in this case, we're using the mystery screen of density, and you can see your students have access to a series of blocks. And each one of those blocks is an unknown substance. And it's the student's job to figure out what each block is. And just like they would in a lab, they're going to use the resources provided with them to identify each of the substances.
Nice. So same thing, same
Yep.
design. We have the questions on one side with instructions. We have some different question types here, some matching, text drag and drop. We can also have it enabled to show answers. So again, you don't have to collect the papers from your students after they have uh, done the answers. And I'm just going to kind of type some stuff in. You can hit show answers and then yes, and then your students can see. Um, well, my score wasn't very good because I was just kind of moving some things around. But then you can include things like a rationale to explain what the answer is, so that you can provide some additional information to support their learning process. And I'll just clear that out. And
I
same
wanted to
thing.
point out
Oh, go ahead.
I want to point out something really quick too. The PhET sim that's being showed still works just like any other PhET sim. So, for example, if you look down in the bottom, the reset button still resets the sim just like that would in PhET. And the cog menu, if you click on the cog on the, yep, that one, that's still going to give you all of the same sim settings that you're used to. So students can still go in here to change the language of the simulation. They can still turn on all of their accessibility features. This is a PhET sim. It just comes with the added bonus of having the assessment questions next to it.
And this is fantastic having the localization too, because
Yeah.
in BookWidgets we support 18 different languages. So yes, while I'm showing English here, you can change your settings so that you are using, typing in whatever language that you use with your students and even your language learners. So it can be multilingual. I like this one. This is a fun one. Promoting an active learning attitude. I mean, really, that's what you're doing with all of these simulations and types of questions is getting your students to be active participants instead of just passive learners. And you can be a little fun with it too. I like this simulation. The John Travolta.
Um, so this simulation, I have a love and a dislike sometimes with this one, mostly because I feel old. If you put this in front of kids, they don't understand the reference anymore. So step one, you have to go back and show them all of John Travolta's movies, but don't watch Pulp Fiction at school. Step two, you do this with them. And if it's making noise, what you guys can't hear at home is that as you move good old John's finger towards the door, he does say youch, and it's magical and wonderful. So he does make noise. He's just you can't hear him right now.
This is always fun. So again, same deal. We have various question types to check their understanding, giving some directions, and then even a photo type question, if your students are practicing static electricity with a balloon or a sweater, you can take a picture and upload it there and then submit. All right, let's go take a look at another one. Developing scientific thinking skills. So we have a little bit of a different layout in this one. We have where it's a long scrollable page with some additional information. So this is actually a WebQuest widget. So we have different tabs you can see down here at the bottom where you can kind of click through and you can create a whole learning pathway for your students. So we have an embedded mind map here, which is another widget type. We have the different information for them, another mind map, click through, some information on natural selection, DNA mutations, and then simulating natural selection. Now we have the simulation is embedded in this particular WebQuest page. So tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is a great one if you are teaching natural selection or genetics in a biology class. What I like about this one is no bunnies are harmed in the making of this simulation. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a mate, and in this case, all the wolves ate the bunnies. But what we'll do is hit start over and
Yeah.
click on the fur dominant button.
Ooh.
Yep. So we're going to give a dominant trait to the incoming mate and then just click add a mate. And now bunnies will continue to do what bunnies do. And you don't have to explain it past that. And as time goes on, bunnies will appear. And what I like about this too, you can choose how the representation that students see. So I'm not just stuck with this graph. I can choose proportions. I could click on an individual bunny and I could see its pedigree. So like pick one of the bunnies. So that's actually the original bunny.
Look at all the
Pick
bunnies.
another bunny.
Ooh,
And
look at
you
that.
can see a bunny's pedigree over time. And I didn't have to try to teach my kids how to make a pedigree either. Bunnies do eventually take over the world. It takes about 6 generations. Bunnies do multiply like bunnies. This is why wolves are so important. And
Yes, let's add some wolves. This is fun. Oh,
the students get to interact with this. See, until bunnies take over the world. The students get to interact with this and collect data in the same way that they would in a lab. There's just no cleanup with this one. I didn't have to fill out permission slips. We didn't have to have a talk about where the bunnies go when the wolf eats them. None of that. It's all digital.
so Yeah, this particular lesson for natural selection being built in a web quest really lets you create a lesson that could be multiple days, or if you're in a long period, uh, a 90-minute class, being able to have widgets inside of widgets to keep students learning and even culminate it into a research project could turn this into a even a week-long project with this with some different case studies. So this is the WebQuest widget. Um, and let's go take a look at another example. So, talking about differentiation, so helping students to work at their own pace and level with some different question types. So, here's this example. So, we have the questions, sorry, we have the instructions that pop up first that give students, you know, before they just jump right into the activity and start playing, you can kind of guide them, give them some additional information. That instruction is always up here so you can in the eye so they can always return back to it if they're like, what are we supposed to do again? And let me just clear this and start over. So this is a planner widget. So this one is creating that learning path for students. So you have them doing some different tasks. So we first begin with a quiz. So they can go to this particular activity and and do it, complete the steps, question by question. You'll see that as I hit continue, then the next question appears for students to do. So again, you can really control the experience for them for some of your type of students who are needs that bit of structure. Um, so this is what we call a worksheet widget, and it's just a long scrollable page. And as you'll see each answer, each question, as I hit continue, we're seeing what pops up is a rationale. So not only can they check their answer, and self-evaluate, but they can get some additional information based on what they've been looking at. So they'll go back. So once they've done that first task, they could check the box. Next, they can move into the simulation. So this one, we got some levels on this one. Tell me about this.
Yeah, this is Area Builder's game levels. So click on level one. This is intended for after your students have learned about area, they have some opportunity to test out their understanding of area. And what I like about this is that as the students are working in it, unlike if I was doing this on a whiteboard in class or on a worksheet, they're going to get immediate feedback. So this is giving them a goal. I need an area of 36. And there's a couple of different representations that I can use. So you can see it's already got nothing's checked, but we can easily move cards out. And on the sides, you have options like I can turn on a grid so that I can see the grid lock, or I can turn on numbers if I want that numeric representation. And now click check. We know this is not correct, but they're going to get that immediate feedback. So it's prompting them to try again and try to get that area of 36.
Mhm.
And so I may, in this case, move around objects, whatever I want to do to try to get that 36. You can keep adding more squares too. And as they do, let's see here, you've got 4 by 5, so we're at 20.
Oh, see, math.
I know we're mean. Now we're at 30.
Almost there.
I've got 34.
One more.
And so now when we check it, it's going to tell me we built it.
Yay.
And what's cool is that it's going to constantly give them that feedback loop. So if you had gotten it wrong, it would have showed you a representation of 36. Even though your representation doesn't match the representation that we would have provided you, which I think is just a 6 by 6 plot,
Yeah.
it's still correct because the area of the object that you provided is still 36. And so this allows students to have that conversation of like, what are the different ways to make a shape with an area of 36? Do they all have the same perimeter? What are different ways to have a shape with a perimeter of 20? Do they all have the same area? And we can have those math conversations that they might not otherwise have because they're either spending too much time drawing other things on their whiteboard or I'm having to go around the room to confirm, yes, that's 36. No, that's not. When you do that for 35 students, even at a minute apiece, that's the majority of your class period.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then if we go back to do again, same thing. I can check the box. We've done it. Go on to level two. Okay, and
That's
now I'm
it.
going to pick level two. Same process.
Yep.
And then again, I practice with some flashcards. So if I'm, learning shapes and working on area, I can, study the flashcards and learn what it is, or I can do practice and I can self-assess. So you'll see the timer up here, how quick I can get through these, and this can just be like a verbal thing. It's not like I'm collecting any papers or any answers from students. It's for them to self-evaluate and to say, okay, what's the rectangle? What's the area of a rectangle? Oh, okay, yes, I got it correct. Okay, next one. What's the square? Oh, no, I got that one wrong. And then you can gamify this too if you're doing this in live mode so that you can see, who's getting through the cards the fastest and with the most accuracy. But the planner widget is a good one for just, again, creating those learning pathways, helping your students to understand what they need to do. And then you can always add additional tasks. So for differentiation, so while we have this initial task list, if you have some learners who are a little bit quicker and would like some more of a challenge, well, then you can, give them the option of choice that they can come over here and grab, add it to their planner, and um, continue on with their journey of learning. Let's take a look at another example, making mistakes visible and correcting them. So as they learn to reason and test their ideas. Here we have a construction kit. So this virtual lab, tell us
Yeah.
about this one.
This is Circuit
Circuits.
Construction Kit. This is one of the four circuit construction kits that we offer. This one is AC, alternating current. And so, what I like about this one, particularly when we're talking about teachers in classrooms, one, if you're doing this with littles, elementary students, you did not have to pull out all these resources and then promptly lose all these resources. If you're doing it with bigs, you didn't just burn out all of your bulbs, you didn't just fry all of your resistors, but this works like any other circuit kit. So you can make a circuit, just connect some wires to a bulb,
Do-do-do-do.
and then,
A
yeah, grab
bulb.
that bulb and then just pull the end of put another wire on that resistor's end and drag it over to finalize the circuit. There you go. Grab that end and drag it on over to the other.
Ooh, look
So,
at that. That's fun.
so in this case, it's not actually connected to the bulb. So we could click, yeah. So they're both connected to the same point of the bulb. So if you actually click on that end, click on the other one next to it. Yeah, that one. Hit the scissors so that it breaks apart. Okay, reconnect it to your bulb. So we're going to connect one wire to one side and one wire to the other. And
Woo, now we
now
got
your
light.
bulb lights up.
Nice.
What's nice about that is if I did that exact same thing in class, either my students would get frustrated and they wouldn't want to do it anymore, or it would break the bulb. And so by not doing that, we can avoid me wasting money on more light bulbs.
Or them trying to electrocute themselves.
Oh my gosh, no more licked batteries. No
Uh,
students were harmed in the making of this activity.
Thank heavens. So this particular one, we're asking in question one to take a screenshot that shows your circuit. And I know that, is it the
Yeah.
three dot menu?
Yep, it is. If you click
Yes.
that and you click screenshot, it takes a screenshot of the sim.
And
So what's
then,
cool about this is that same thing is what teachers would do. They would just have their students sketch it in like a lab notebook. But now they can just do that right inside their activity.
love this. And then having that record of learning, taking that screenshot, I mean, granted, we're only asking for one screenshot right here, but you could show process by having like, what's your first step? Take a screenshot. What's your second step? Take a screenshot. Um, and then here we have, yep, here's do some additional things, take another screenshot, show answers again for this, so that again, you're making that lab experience and not having to lug home a giant bag of papers
Oh my
and lab
gosh, yes.
reports. And again, there's that make a copy of my count. So it's already done for you if you want to play along. All right. Now let's take a look at promoting transfer to the real world. So being able to make those connections between abstract theory and realistic situations. And let's go back to the beginning. All right, so we're doing introduction to greenhouse gases and the greenhouse effect. So we have a resource on this side with some additional information. We have check their understanding with some questions. This is a multimedia quiz, so I have a resource attached to a page of questions. So in the first one, we had, rich text that was there for them or a PDF. And then on this next page, we have another set of questions and a simulation for
Yeah.
simulating greenhouse.
Yeah, and this one's great because one of the troubles students have with understanding the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases is that you can't see UV outside.
Hmm.
You can go outside and like the sun is there. You don't want the kids to look at the sun, but if you tell them, let's observe the light, what's the first thing they do? They look at the sun. Not great for their eyes. In here, when you click start sunlight, you can now see a photon version of light as it is coming from the sun and then what is being emitted off. So we've got our sunlight coming down, our infrared energy bouncing back up, and students can see what happens with the temperature. And you can see how sometimes they bounce off of the cloud. So maybe I can now have my students, what do you think would happen if I got rid of the cloud?
There'd be
Well, we
more
can then,
light. Yeah.
yeah, we can then go over to the cloud and uncheck the box for the cloud and make an observation. And so students can have that interactivity of something that they couldn't otherwise see. You can't go outside and turn off clouds. That'd be great sometimes, but
Sometimes.
that's just not something we have access to right now. So we can do that in a PhET simulation, and students can make those observations. No future technology required.
Hmm. So then, yeah. So as they navigate through, you can then give them also, part three, making that connection of understanding, where do greenhouse gases come from? Okay, now do a little bit of research, provide some additional solutions and why those solutions might be sustainable. This is a rich text question, so you could have students, you know, doing bullets or bolding or even writing in different colors if they so choose for this particular question type. And then again, submitting their responses. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do this step by step, how to add that simulation to your widget activity. So I'm going to take you right through the demo. We're going to show you how to choose a widget, choose that resource or formatted text, and then choose and configure your simulation. And then we have so many different options. BookWidgets is entirely built on teacher feedback. So we are very closely related to education. All of us on staff at BookWidgets are either current or former classroom teachers or are related, married to teachers. So we are very closely related to education. So every scenario that you could possibly think of for the classroom, we have also thought of that too, so that you can configure your widgets for those different types of situations. So first step we're going to do is going to go choose a widget. Then we're going to add our resource or formatted text, and then you're going to choose your simulation. So let me pop over into my BookWidgets account. So I'm signed into BookWidgets, and I'm on my Create. I'm in my widgets section. I've got some folders that I've already organized for myself. I have some other widgets that I've made. There's the John Travolta assignment. So if you're curious as to how that one was created, I can just show you the editor view. So when we go in, we can see questions. There's all the questions on one page. So you can see the different questions I've asked. If we go in, you can then edit the different types of questions. If you want to add a word counter or update the rationale or change the scoring, all of those things you can do in this editor view. If I come over to the resources tab, this is where we'll see that simulation. So it was a web embed. So I have the URL. And then the URL here is from PhET. Now, I did not go to the PhET page to go get this. Nope. Came over here to the drop-down menu and selected Select STEM Simulation and grab the John Travolta one. So let's start this all from scratch. And let me close this out and show you. So I'm going to create a new widget. And I'm just going to pick the quiz. It doesn't matter, a quiz, worksheet, or split worksheet. All three of them are actually very similar. And I'm just going to put that demo for this one. Give it a name, give it a little bit of description. I can add my questions. I can choose single question per page, or if I want to make more of a multimedia kind of stacked experience with multiple pages, I can do multiple questions per page. Or if I want to have one long scrollable page, I can do all questions on one page as a worksheet. So first off, I'm just going to keep it as, I'll just do multiple questions per page. I'm going to add a page. And then I'm going to add my first question. Now, I already have decided what I'm going to build. And I'm going to do something about levers, the principle of the lever. So let me go grab first the simulation. So let me go over to resources. I'm going to add a resource. I'm going to pick web embed in this case. And I'm going to come over here to the drop down and I'm going to do select STEM simulation. Now, all of these things have popped up. Holy moly, Linda, there's a lot here.
Yeah, there's over 100 of them. So don't get too overwhelmed. There are choices, but at the top of this were some really important things to help you find what you're looking for faster. So these are all of the topics that come from PhET. So this could be things like motion or algebra. All of your general topics found on the PhET website are also found here. I also like this is where, for example, you said levers. If you want
Yes,
to filter for a word, you can do it that way. So
there it
there's
is.
balancing act.
Yeah,
And you can also pick your language on the screen. So you might know PhET is translated into over 100 languages thanks to our PhET translator program. And so if there is a particular language that you are trying to provide for your students, you can filter through the activity, through the sims by language as well. One thing I will
awesome.
say that should, if the language that you pick is not available for the sim that you have already filtered down to, that sim might disappear. In that case, that's telling you that it's not translated to that language yet.
Now I see these options here. So
Mhm.
anything I should know about with what I want
This-
my students to do? If let's say this is an introductory lesson on this, like this is the first time, do I want to give them a lot of choice? What's the good place to
yeah,
start?
It's going to depend on how you want to on how you want to create your activity. So if you want to have, say, you want to start with just the intro and then have three questions, and then do just the balance lab and have three questions, it's up to you. You'll notice that as you're making those changes, it's automatically updating in your preview.
Yes.
So that's going to help you as a teacher to determine what do you want it to look like. And it's really up to you. Some instructors prefer to give their students all of the screens. Go crazy. We're going to walk you through the whole thing. Some folks are like, no, I really want this to just be the intro or to just be this one portion. And so they can limit it on their own.
Nice. All right, so now I got this, I got my resource. I'm going to come back over here to questions. And now I'm going to add my page and I'm going to add my first question. And I'm just going to pick multiple choice just for easiness here. I've already got some text to copy paste. So you don't have to watch me typing. And so I can enter in my answers. Hmm. What's great is I can have like random answer order. So my students, aren't always like, um, the answer number one is B, as
Yeah,
they love to
exactly.
do. Um, so some different things I can do in here. So in addition to, I've selected what the right answer will be. I can add in a rationale to explain. I can, and the rationale is only revealed after they have checked their answers. After they've submitted the widget, then the rationale is revealed to them. But you can do a hint. So if you need a little extra help, um, you can add in some resources. You can switch to rich text here. So I could insert an image, another web embed if I really wanted to, some audio or a video. Um, I can insert some different things here that could help them if I needed to differentiate my instruction. Audio is great too, that if I want to, for my littles or emerging readers, I can record right in BookWidgets what my instructions are or, to help them understand what to do. Again, attach an image and then I can always change my scoring options. I'm going to add another question. And you'll see from the list here, there is so many different ways that you can make your students' thinking visible. Everything from, the traditional multiple choice, long answer, but you can do things like a mark sentence or drag words in a sentence, fill in a table, annotate picture. There's a whiteboard question. There's that photo question you've seen before. So many different ways that you can make their thinking visible as I keep scrolling. You can also have them do an audio recording too. So if you need them to practice speaking skills, you can have that type of question. Picture drag and drop. We have so many different versions of matching with audio, text, or images and combinations thereof. And then we even have for you math and science folks some balanced chemical equations, an ionic compound builder. There's an equation question type, and then there's also a rubric to do self-evaluation. So I'm just going to come back up for multiple choice one more time. Actually, no, I'm going to do photo. We'll just do photo for this one. And I will give it these directions. I can also switch to rich text here if I want to do anything for emphasis. Um, provide that for my students as needed. All right, so let's go to preview and see what this looks like. So when I go to preview, I'm looking at it in student mode. So I can test this out for myself. I can check my answers. I can do it. Oh, there's that hint. So it'll show, whatever text or whatever stuff you put it there. They click again, it disappears. but then they have this simulation on the one side, and then again, their questions are on the other. Tell us about this simulation.
This one's pretty straightforward. It is for balancing, is obviously for fulcrums. And so the idea here is that instead of having your students pull out a seesaw in class or perhaps go out to the playground, you can do the exact same thing on the sim. So we're going to, it says we want to put 5 kilogram mass on the left and a 30 kilogram mass. We actually don't have a 30 kilogram mass. We've only
Oh
got
my
10.
gosh, what are we gonna do? Should I go back?
So I think we're gonna
Should,
have to go back and edit it. This is
oh,
this is why you always preview your student work before
yep,
you assign it.
that is right. So we could do 10.
10.
Yep.
Yep. And then we can preview and hey, look, they can put a 5 kilogram on the left, 10 kilogram on the right, and then click the underneath the fulcrum. You'll see, yep, toggle that to remove it. Fell pretty quick.
Yeah, it did.
So we can see how it's going to impact the balance, how it's going to impact that equilibrium right inside of the simulation. And
Yep.
so
And
now
then
they're
that's
going to be asked to take a screenshot and they could upload their screenshot.
nice. Love it. I love it. Um, so if we wanted to, add additional pages and add additional um, items here, you totally could do that. So if I go back to questions, I could add another page, and I could do another set of questions, asking for different things, or even, a whiteboard question and asking them to, um, draw your own fulcrum and what you think would happen, um, and adding additional resources. So when it comes to the resources, you could do a couple of different combinations here. You could have the same resource be shown on each page. So that one simulation could stay put, and then you could have multiple pages of questions, or you could do something totally crazy. You could configure resources to show on each page. So if you wanted to do different simulations or different resources, so now I'm going to configure the resource for each page. I'm going to go back to my questions. So now over here for page 1, I'm going to do the cogwheel, and I'm going to select the resource. So I'm going to select that first resource that I made, and I can add that selected resource. And then on page 2, I'm not going to have any resource there. I'm just going to leave it as is. So I can just show you real quick what the preview would look like. So we saw this already. And then when I navigate to the next page, now here's just that whiteboard question, if I wanted to give them additional directions. You'll notice also up here in the top corner is design. So for new users, if you are in a trial account, you're only going to see this top part up here, where you can change it from a light to a dark background. You can change the font, and you can change the color. For those of you that have a group license or a school license, you'll see as I scroll down, there's so many different things that you could change, that if you needed to customize the look for your widget, to meet your students' needs, you can totally do so. And if you ever need to print, because maybe the internet, you can always print your widgets too if you need to, but um, you're not going to be able to do the simulation if you print
You're
it.
also not going to get all the auto grading. So
No.
we haven't figured out how to auto grade paper yet.
Now, some other things I want to show you within the widget too. So in addition to questions and resources, you have the reporting tab. This is where you can enable submitting of answers. You could also allow students to submit only once. You saw me click the trash can and clear my work and try again. You could disable that if you so choose. And you can also do exam mode, which is just a timer. So if you want to do a timed experience for your students. Let's say you want to practice um, a mock exam or a mock standardized test that you're doing, like state testing. You could enable that timer to give that type of experience. When we go to the general tab, here there are so many different options that you can choose from to configure your widgets. So this is what I'm talking about with every possible scenario. We have tried to think of it or have built it based on teacher feedback. So correction and scoring options, you can choose whether or not you want to have answers be shown. You can also choose to color code answers immediately if you want students to see the answers right away. You can also configure for each question. So maybe some questions you want them to see it right away to help them with the lab as they progress through. You can also show the score or not, and you can also add feedback based on a score. So as the students, are submitting their widgets, you can give them additional support based on what their overall score was. Um, and you can add multiple feedback, as many pieces of feedback to differentiate as your little heart desires. You can also do things like strict answer order. You can have automatic numbering or numbering of sections. You can do a startup password. Um, I don't think PhET would work in Safe Exam Browser, though, would
I
it?
It should. The all of the Sims have the external links turned off for BookWidgets, so it should work.
Nice.
Because you all are pulling them in yourself, but I'm not actually sure.
So Safe Exam Browser is a third-party tool. It is not something that BookWidgets has created. But if you need to have an exam experience where you're not letting your students go out into the wilds of the internet, um, Safe
Then it
Exam
should
Browser
work.
is a useful tool. Hmm?
Yeah, it should work because it's coming from BookWidgets.
Yep.
So
Um, some other things, spell check. Here's that instructions to give them that opening bit. And then we have things like text selection. So allowing students to select text. You might be like, okay, great. I'll check the box, but then check the box because you could allow them to highlight text in questions and their rich text resources. And you can also allow text to speech. So, and have, especially for your emerging language learners, um, you can have multiple languages to support that text to speech.
and if you
Uh,
don't turn that on, they can't copy and paste it into ChatGPT.
yep. And then the copy paste restrictions, this, if you enable use private clipboard, absolutely prevents that. They can only copy paste what's inside the widget. So if you're giving them a resource, it won't block predictive text on Android, just so you know. Um, it's not 100% foolproof, but it will keep them contained inside that widget. Uh, for your littles, on-screen keyboard, or even if you're working with devices that have some unique characters, the on-screen keyboard is really useful to supporting that. Audio options, Scratchpad is great. Calculator, so you don't have to have a whole set of scientific calculators bouncing around the room. We have a digital version. I'll show you what it'll look like in a hot second. Um, and if you needed to, you could allow your students to download. So I'll just hit preview so you can see some of the things that I've enabled here. And I'll go back. Okay. So one of the things I enabled was the exam mode. So you can see there's the timer. Um, and now it's shifted so that it's not stressing students out. It becomes just a circle. But if they want to see, oh my God, how much time do I have left? They can click the time or make it go away. The embedded calculator, when they click that, woo, look at how pretty that is. Um, they can hit all the buttons. They can also move it around on the screen so that it's not in the way. And then when it comes to highlighting, so I'm just going to highlight a little bit. So I have my highlighter tool that I can use to highlight the text. And then I also can do text to speech
10 kilograms object to the right.
and have, some different text to speech settings, again, that are dependent on the browser. But this, again, just helps to support students' efficacy. One other thing to point out to help students is you can do starring of questions. And you know what? Let me go change this back to light and go back to blue so it's nice to see, a little bit easier. Next to each question number, you're going to see um, this star. So as a student, if I'm working and I go, oh, I want to make sure I come back to this question later, I can star it. And then as I'm working, I can see, oh, what questions do I have left? Oh, number two's got the star on it. Let me go to that one and fix it up. So lots of, again, ability to support your students, guide them in their learning, and um, help them be successful in their journey. All right, let's pop back over the slides. So just to recap, there's a number of different widgets that you can put the simulations in. So I just kind of showed you the split worksheet quiz one. The web quest is a little bit more involved in the planner. And then the other one is a hotspot image widget. So this one, let me go back over, close this out, close that one out. I'm going to hit create new widget and you'll see when I scroll down, there's so many options here for activities that you can create. We got games, and then here's that hotspot image. And then let's see. Background image. Oh, wait, maybe it's not in here. Add a hotspot. Oh, there it is. So in the hotspot on the image, I can add a web pop-up. And then in that pop-up, bump, 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 I could select a widget or I could select a STEM simulation. So this is going to be an image on which you can have things pop up for students. And one of those things that pops up could be a PhET simulation. So that's pretty cool. I'm just going to leave that open and come back to the slides. So wherever you see that STEM simulation under insert, that's where you can grab PhET. And you can add it as a resource. You can add it in formatted text or in an embedded page. So let's take a look at all the different PhET subjects, Linda. So many things to choose from
Yeah.
here.
They have a ton of options. If you click over to the next slide, our primary content is chemistry and physics. I think everybody knows that for chemistry and physics, we are physics education technology. So PhET isn't just a fun name, it is also an acronym. So we have 66 physics simulations, 34 chemistry simulations, and then we also support, and click over the last slide, we also support math, earth science, and have a growing biology catalog with membrane transport there as our newest biology sim released in October. So tons of simulations. You're not limited in your options. They're all provided.
Yes. So again, when you're doing that insert the STEM simulation, you can see all the subjects or come through the drop down and select there's the biology, there's those
Yep.
ones that are available, and switch through and filter as needed. So, awesome sauce. Okay, so just to wrap us up, and then we'll do a little bit of Q&A. So if you ever need questions beyond this webinar, you need additional help, you can always email us at support@bookwidgets.com. Our webinars is a great place to go to see what's coming up next. So we have coming up next month, we're going to be looking at digital game boards. We're also going to take a look in April at feedback in a flash with digital exit tickets and short films in May. And feel free to register for any of these upcoming webinars. And If you continue scrolling down, we have so many recorded ones already that if you're curious about how to use book widgets, let's say in Canvas or Moodle or Google Classroom, or even if you want to take a look at some different pedagogy and teaching strategies, or even you go widget focused and you're like, whoa, that web quest looked pretty cool. How do I build that? We got a webinar for that. So you can check that out. Uh, Also, we have plenty of tutorials in digital and print to help you out too if you have any technical questions, because there's definitely a lot to uncover in book widgets. And our knowledge base also will answer those frequently asked questions. And then the other place is amazing to go to is the Book Widgets blog. So we all write different articles, create activities for our classrooms. We have that blog article on PhET right here. So we talk about all of the different activities that we've made already. There's our good old webinar. So you can go through step by step and see some different examples and read about the different simulations and how to also build your own in addition to what I've shared with you today. And you can always search the Book Widgets blog for additional subjects, for what's coming up. We got some Valentine's Day things for you because I know Valentine's Day is on Saturday, and Friday the 13th, the day before. So if you're looking for activities, we got you covered. So lots of things here in the Book Widgets blog. And if we go back to the slides, the Book Widgets blog group. So once you've made your account and you're in Book Widgets, we have a group that has every single widget we've ever made for the blog and webinars. So it's in the Book Widgets blog group that you can become a member of. We have over 3,000 ready-made lessons. So lots of things to go in and take a look at through here. You can also filter. So if I type in PhET, there we are. Here's our folder of PhET. So all of those simulations that we've already done. And if you want to duplicate it and make a copy in your account, you can certainly do that. Or even just preview the ones that are here. So the blog group is a great place to go so that you're not starting from scratch and you can see how the different widgets have been configured. So you can see what the settings are. So I'm so glad our roads crossed and that you joined us for today. I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to do some Q&A.